Episode 23. The morning after, Marcus didn't remember falling asleep, but he woke to Agent Reeves gently shaking his shoulder. Dawn light filtered through the safe house windows, pale and uncertain. His father's watch read 6:47 a.m. "Time to get moving," Reeves said quietly. "Court's at 9. Marcus sat up on the couch, his neck stiff from the awkward angle he'd slept at. Across the room, Tommy was sprawled in an armchair, mouth open, still dead to the world. Ray sat by the window where Marcus had left him hours ago, staring out at the quiet suburban street. He hadn't slept at all. "Ray," Marcus said. Ray didn't turn. "I'm good. You need to rest, man." "I said I'm good." Ray's voice was flat, empty. His hands lay motionless in his lap, but his leg bounced constantly, a nervous energy that had to go somewhere. Upstairs, Marcus could hear movement. Carmen and Miguel, probably, maybe Maria Santos, though he doubted Diego's mother had slept any better than the rest of them. The woman had gone to bed praying for her son's soul, knowing her daughter would testify against him in 3 hours. Agent Martinez emerged from the kitchen carrying a tray of coffee cups. "Breakfast is ready. Eggs, toast, bacon. You need to eat something." "Not hungry," Tommy mumbled without opening his eyes. Wasn't a suggestion. Martinez set the tray down firmly. "You're going to eat, you're going to shower, and you're going to be ready to leave by 8:15. Carmen needs to look composed when she walks into that courthouse, and that means all of you need to have your heads on straight." Marcus took a cup of coffee, black and bitter. He'd never developed a taste for it, but his mother drank it every morning before her shift at Columbia, and right now he needed to feel connected to her somehow. Agent Carter had promised she understood, that she was proud of him, but understanding and pride didn't pay rent, didn't replace the scholarship he'd thrown away, didn't give her back the son she'd sacrificed everything to save. Marcus. Agent Johnson appeared at the top of the stairs, her expression unreadable. "Can I speak with you?" He followed her into the small office off the living room. She closed the door and gestured to a chair, but he remained standing. "Your mother called the office this morning," Johnson said. "She wanted to know if you were safe." Marcus's throat tightened. "What did you tell her?" "That you were fine, that you made a brave choice, that she should be proud." Johnson paused. "She said she already knew that. She also said to tell you that she spoke with someone at Columbia." "There's no point. I'm not going back." "She knows that, but she wanted you to know that your scholarship can be deferred for up to 2 years under extraordinary circumstances. If you testify against Diego Santos and enter witness protection, Columbia considers that extraordinary." Marcus stared at her. 2 years. "It's not gone, Marcus. Your future isn't over. It's just postponed." But 2 years in witness protection meant 2 years away from the Bronx, away from everything he knew. 2 years of living under a fake name in some city he'd never seen, waiting for Diego Santos to be convicted and sentenced. 2 years of his mother working double shifts at Columbia, surrounded by students who got to walk the campus with malls. Marcus should have been walking. "She wanted you to know something else," Johnson continued. "She said your father would be proud of you, that he made her promise to get you out of the neighborhood, but he never said how. He just said to make sure you became the kind of man who could walk with his head up." Marcus turned away, blinking hard. Through the window, he could see the morning sun climbing higher. In 3 hours, Carmen would stand before a federal magistrate and confirm her betrayal of Diego Santos. The moment would make every news broadcast in the city. And somewhere in the Bronx, Diego would be watching. "What's he going to do?" Marcus asked quietly. "When he sees her on TV, when it becomes real, what's Diego going to do? We have surveillance on him around the clock. If he makes a move toward any of your families, we'll know." "That's not what I asked." Johnson was silent for a moment. "I don't know, Marcus. Men like Diego Santos, they don't react the way normal people do. Betrayal isn't just personal to them, it's existential. His sister testified against him, his own blood. That kind of wound doesn't heal. So he'll come for us. He'll try, but we'll be ready." Marcus wanted to believe her, wanted to trust that federal protection meant something, that the government could keep them safe from a man who'd built an empire in the shadows of the Bronx. But he'd grown up in those shadows. He knew what Diego was capable of. "Get something to eat," Johnson said gently. "You need your strength." Upstairs, Miguel stood outside Maria Santos's closed bedroom door, one hand raised to knock, frozen in indecision. Carmen emerged from the bathroom, hair still damp from the shower, wearing clothes Agent Martinez had brought. Simple black pants and a white blouse, appropriate for court. "She won't talk to you," Carmen said softly. Miguel lowered his hand. "I have to try. I have to explain." "There's nothing to explain. She knows what happened. She knows why we did it." Carmen touched his arm. "She just needs time." "We don't have time. In 2 hours you're going to stand in front of a judge and confirm everything. Once that happens, there's no going back. Your mother needs to understand. She understands that her family is destroyed, that her son is a drug dealer and her daughter is a traitor. That's all she can process right now." Miguel leaned against the wall, suddenly exhausted. He hadn't slept either. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Diego's face in the federal building garage, saw the cold certainty in his former boss's eyes. Diego had promised retribution, and Diego always kept his promises. "Do you think your mother's okay?" Carmen asked. "Mrs. Rodriguez, Agent Johnson said she didn't believe you worked for Diego." "She will. When it's all over the news, when they show my picture and say I was part of his operation, she'll believe it then." Miguel's voice was hollow. "And then she'll have to explain to my brothers why their big brother is a criminal." "You're not a criminal. You were trying to protect us." "I counted money for a drug dealer, Carmen. I learned where he kept his stash houses. I was going to make a delivery the night we ran." Miguel looked at her. "That makes me a criminal." Before Carmen could respond, Maria Santos's door opened. Diego's mother stood in the doorway, still wearing the house dress she'd arrived in, her gray-streaked hair uncombed. She looked at Miguel for a long moment, her expression unreadable. "You love my daughter," she said finally. "It wasn't a question." "Yes, ma'am. And you would die for her." Miguel didn't hesitate. "Yes," Maria nodded slowly. "Then you understand why I cannot forgive you, because you made her choose between her brother and her conscience, and that choice destroyed my family. You understand this?" "I understand." "Good." Maria turned to Carmen. "Come, help me get ready. If I must watch my daughter betray my son in a courtroom, I will not do it looking like a woman who has given up." Carmen followed her mother back into the bedroom, glancing back at Miguel with an expression that broke his heart. The door closed softly behind them. Downstairs, Tommy finally dragged himself to the breakfast table, where Marcus and Ray sat picking at eggs neither of them wanted. Agent Martinez had given up trying to make them eat and was checking her watch every 30 seconds. "My old man's probably still passed out," Tommy said, pouring coffee. "Probably hasn't even noticed I'm gone. Probably thinks I'm just staying at Marcus's place or something." "Tommy," Marcus started. "No, it's fine. It's actually better this way, you know? He doesn't have to deal with the disappointment of having a son who's a snitch. Doesn't have to explain to his drinking buddies why his kid testified against Diego Santos." Tommy's laugh was bitter. "Hell, he might even be proud. Federal witness protection. That's almost respectable, right?" Ray spoke without looking up from his untouched plate. "My grandmother lit every candle in the house last night. Agent watching the place said she prayed the rosary 4 times. 4 times. She's scared for you," Marcus said. "She's scared of me, scared of what I've become." Ray finally looked up, his eyes red-rimmed and exhausted. "You know what Diego's crew said to me when they had me at the warehouse? They said my grandmother's house would burn so hot they'd find her bones in the ashes. Said they'd make it look like she fell asleep with a candle burning. An accident." The table fell silent. Agent Martinez stopped checking her watch. "They described it, man. Every detail. How the smoke would fill her lungs first. How she'd be dead before the flames even reached her. How the neighbors would smell it too late." Ray's voice cracked. And then they laughed, like it was the funniest thing in the world. Marcus reached across the table, gripping Ray's shoulder. "She's safe. They're watching her. For how long? A month? A year? Forever?" Ray shook his head. "Diego's patient. He'll wait. And one day, when the surveillance gets thin, when we're all scattered in witness protection living under fake names, that's when he'll move." "We'll be ready," Martinez said firmly. "Diego Santos will be in federal prison." "You don't know that. You don't know him like we do." Ray pushed back from the table, his chair scraping loudly. He's already won. Don't you see that? We're hiding in a safe house, our families are targets, and he's still out there, still free, still planning. Ray, Marcus started, but Ray was already walking away, heading back to his post by the window. Tommy watched him go, then turned to Marcus. He's not wrong, you know, about Diego winning. We gave up everything, your scholarship, our families, our whole lives, and what did we get? 7 photographs and a promise that the feds will protect us. We got Carmen away from him, Marcus said quietly. We got Miguel out before he was in too deep. We got proof of Diego's operation. And in return, Diego gets to destroy our families while he's still free. Great trade. Agent Johnson appeared in the doorway. It's 8 o'clock. We need to start getting ready. The drive to the courthouse takes 45 minutes, and we need to go over procedure one more time before we leave. Marcus stood, his father's watch heavy on his wrist. In 1 hour, they would leave this safe house. In 2 hours, Carmen would stand before a federal magistrate and speak the words that would make her betrayal official. And somewhere in the Bronx, Diego Santos would be watching. The storm was here. They just didn't know how hard it would hit. Carmen descended the stairs at 8:15, her mother beside her. Maria Santos had transformed herself in the past hour, hair pinned up neatly, face composed, wearing a simple dark dress that Agent Martinez had provided. She looked like a woman preparing for a funeral, which, Marcus supposed, she was, the funeral of her family. Agent Johnson gathered them in the living room, her expression serious. Listen carefully. When we arrive at the courthouse, there will be media. Diego's lawyers made sure of that. They want this public. They want everyone to see Carmen confirm her cooperation. That's fine. We expected it. What about Diego? Miguel asked. Will he be there? No. His lawyers advised against it, but his people will be there, watching, taking pictures, making sure everyone knows what happened. Johnson looked at Carmen. You ready for this? Carmen's hand found Miguel's, gripping tight. I'm ready. The hearing will be brief. Judge Brennan will ask if you're cooperating voluntarily, if you've been coerced, if you understand your rights. You answer yes, no, yes, that's it. Then we leave. And then what? Maria Santos asked, speaking for the first time since coming downstairs. After my daughter confirms she betrayed her brother, what happens to us? Johnson met her gaze steadily. Then we build the case. We use Carmen's testimony and the photographs to get warrants. We raid Diego's operation, freeze his assets, arrest his crew. We build a RICO case that puts him away for the rest of his life. How long? Months, maybe longer. These cases take time. And in those months, my son will be free. Free to plan, to prepare, to strike back at the people who destroyed him. Maria's voice was quiet but firm. You cannot protect us forever, Agent Johnson, and my son is very patient. Johnson had no answer for that, because Maria Santos was right, and everyone in the room knew it. We need to go, Agent Reeves said from the doorway. Vehicles are ready. They filed out into the morning sunlight, 3 black SUVs waiting in the driveway. Marcus, Tommy, and Ray climbed into the first vehicle with Agent Reeves. Miguel and Carmen took the second with Agent Martinez. Maria Santos rode in the third with Agent Johnson. As they pulled out of the quiet suburban neighborhood, Marcus watched the safe house disappear behind them. They were leaving the eye of the storm, heading back into the chaos. And this time, there was no hiding. The drive to the courthouse passed in tense silence. Marcus watched the neighborhoods change as they got closer to Manhattan, suburban homes giving way to apartment buildings, then to the glass and steel of the city. He'd been to the federal courthouse once before, on a school trip in 10th grade. Back then it had seemed impressive, intimidating, a monument to justice. Now it just looked like a building, stone and glass and metal, no different from any other. Justice wasn't in the architecture. It was in the people inside, in the decisions they made. And Marcus wasn't sure he trusted those people anymore. They arrived at 8:52, 8 minutes before the hearing. The media was already there, just as Agent Johnson had predicted. Cameras, reporters, microphones. A crowd of people waiting to document Carmen Santos's betrayal of her brother. Agent Reeves turned in his seat. Stay close to me. Don't answer any questions. Don't make eye contact with anyone. Just keep moving toward the entrance. The doors opened. Marcus stepped out into the chaos. Reporters surged forward immediately, shouting questions. Is it true Carmen Santos is testifying against her brother? What kind of operation was Diego Santos running? How long has this investigation been going on? Agent Reeves pushed through the crowd, Marcus and the others following in his wake. Tommy kept his head down. Ray's eyes darted everywhere, and Marcus tried to look straight ahead. Behind them, he could hear more shouting as Carmen emerged from the second vehicle. Carmen? Carmen Santos! Is it true you're cooperating with federal authorities? Miss Santos, why are you testifying against your own brother? Carmen, does Diego know you're here? Marcus glanced back and saw Carmen walking steadily forward, Miguel's hand in hers, her face composed. Maria Santos walked behind them, Agent Martinez at her side, looking like she was walking to her own execution. They made it through the doors into the relative quiet of the courthouse lobby. Security guards directed them to the elevators, and they rode up in silence to the 5th floor. The Southern District Courthouse was impressive inside. Marble floors, high ceilings, the weight of federal authority in every corner. Agent Johnson met them outside the courtroom. Judge Brennan is ready. Carmen, you'll go in first with me. The rest of you will wait here. The hearing shouldn't take more than 15 minutes. Carmen nodded, squeezed Miguel's hand one more time, then followed Agent Johnson through the heavy wooden doors. They closed with a solid thunk, leaving the others in the hallway. Marcus checked his watch, 8:58 a.m. In 2 minutes, Carmen would stand before a federal magistrate and confirm her cooperation. In 2 minutes, Diego Santos's worst fear would become official reality. And in 2 minutes, whatever came next would begin. He thought about his mother, probably on the subway right now, heading to her shift at Columbia. Thought about Ray's grandmother, lighting candles and praying. Thought about Mrs. Rodriguez, who still didn't believe her son had worked for Diego. Thought about Tommy's father, probably still passed out on the couch. All of them waiting, not knowing what would happen next. All of them vulnerable, exposed, hoping that federal protection meant something. The courtroom doors opened. Carmen emerged, her face pale but composed. Agent Johnson was right behind her, nodding to the others. "It's done," Johnson said simply. Carmen walked to Miguel, and he wrapped his arms around her. She didn't cry, just stood there, holding him, as if he was the only solid thing in a world that had just shifted beneath her feet. Maria Santos stood apart, watching her daughter. Marcus couldn't read her expression. Pride, grief, resignation, maybe all three. "We need to leave," Agent Reeves said. "Now, before the media realizes the hearing's over." They moved quickly back to the elevators, down to the lobby, out into the morning sun. The reporters were still there, and this time they were ready. Carmen Santos just confirmed her cooperation with federal authorities in the investigation of her brother Diego Santos, one reporter shouted into a camera. This is the first time in recent memory that a family member has testified against a major organized crime figure in the Bronx. More cameras, more questions, more chaos. But they pushed through, making it back to the vehicles. As Marcus climbed into the SUV, he caught sight of someone across the street. A man in a dark jacket, watching. Not a reporter, not a random pedestrian. One of Diego's people. Their eyes met for just a second. The man nodded slowly, then turned and walked away. Message received, Diego knew, and now the real war would begin.
Thanks for watching our stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic adventures. Thanks for watching our stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic adventures.